So I wrote this other post that was about finding your voice through intuitive writing, but it can be intuitive anything actually. So just like letting your mind go and see what will come out of it, because we suppress so many things in our daily lives. And when you just give space, like a blank paper, you can let your mind flow and see what will come out of it. And this can be a very therapeutic exercise as well. But yeah, what about you? What are your self-care?
I think before talking about my self-care rituals, just talking about your post that you just mentioned, actually, when I first came across the term intuitive writing, I was not really sure what that was, because for me, writing or creating something is already intuitive, right? Because I'm not following a guideline. I'm just doing something that is coming through me, or, letting my intuition guide me. But then I realized that actually, most of the times, that's not how it happens for most people, and even for myself before. When we just need to create something, or we think, oh, I need to write something or draw something, sometimes we will look up on the internet like how to make a drawing of this thing, or just color those coloring books. I don't really like it, but some people like it, and they just follow a pattern that is already there. So I think it's important to say that intuitive writing or intuitive creation of any sort is really getting rid of any framework that you think you should have, and allowing yourself to create in your own way, without expectations of having to be this way or that way, or, because if you're only thinking about the possibilities in this framework that you already know, nothing really new will come out of that. You're just reproducing something. So, and you're not being able to see your true self through your work. Because when you let yourself flow and create something intuitively, you're going to have kind of a mirror of yourself there, Even the colors you use, even the shapes you draw, are they harsh? Are they pointing to something? Are they round and flowy? And this all can be interpreted in a way that you can see through your facade. You can see deep inside yourself through your own creation, which I think is really amazing. How do you experience intuitive writing or intuitive creation, as you mentioned?
It's just, first of all, it's kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and allowing yourself to do something you don't know, and being okay with not knowing what will come out of that. Because we tend to be so controlling, even with our tiny little things, such as like drawing. I need to see how to draw a cat. I will search on the internet, see the picture of the cat, and then start drawing. No, so instead of doing this, it's more like sit down, take a deep breath, and see, let your mind travel and see, what do I want to do now? Do I want to, I don't know, like cut some figures out of a magazine and put them together and see what will come out of it? Do I want to take all the pencil colors that I have and just do like doodles and whatever? It can be even with music, if you're into music, take the musical instruments and play different sounds and different chords and see what will come out of it. You don't need a music sheet, you can just do what you feel like doing and experimenting. If it's not good, it's fine. It's not, you don't have to put it out in the world. It's an exercise for yourself and to get to know yourself better, because sometimes we end up not doing things that we might like actually, just because we are not good at, just because we have never tried. And this fear of not being good enough, this fear of not knowing how to do something stops us. So I think that's a pretty good exercise as well, to train your mind that it's okay to be a newbie at something, and that everything is a learning process. So this can even like affect how you interact in the world. And for example, you get a new opportunity for a job, a gig or something, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But because you train your brain, like, it's okay not to know, and just learning the process, you get comfortable with those situations as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think, like you said, you don't have to show, even if it's not good, you don't need to show to the world, right? But we have to remember that everything that is good starts with trying. So we gotta try to see where we can get, right? And I don't know, I don't want to be like thinking that everyone is like us, but I really think that we always craved like to do something new, or to create something, or to allow our mind to create something that is unique, or even like writing, or even what we're doing now. It's like being creative and doing something that is not related to our day-to-day work or studies. I really don't know if people who are never inspired to create something, if they never tried, or if they really don't like it. Because for me, it's almost like the time that I spent not doing anything creative at all was like the worst time in my entire life. I felt super disconnected with myself. And I think, even if you think you don't like, just give it a try, because maybe you discover that yourself is also disconnected from who you truly are. So I would highly, highly suggest you to give it a try. Try to create something out of your heart. Just take 30 minutes out of your day and do something for yourself. And maybe you'll find a piece of yourself that was hidden and that was saying, that's truly who I am. Please come and rescue me. I need to show up. So just give it a try.
That reminds me as well of, you were talking about like inspiration and being creative. I think a lot of poets, a lot of artists, musicians, they talk about having inspiration, and it's something that doesn't come from them necessarily. It's just like they're this vessel, and something bigger than them, like the divine, whatever you believe in, comes in and brings you an idea. And it can be out of nowhere. So I heard many funny stories of how artists got to get inspired. And sometimes they would even ask, like, I'm busy right now. Please don't let it go. Like, don't disappear out of my mind, but please come back at this time when I'm at home and I have a pen and paper to write it down, because otherwise I'll forget. And I think it was in Italy, like in the Renaissance period, that they believed like the great painters, they would call it genius, but the genius wasn't inside the painter. The genius was outside of them and influenced their work. So I think this is good, because it like demystify the thing that some people are born with this genius and that they are intrinsically good at something. Of course, some people have more, they're prone to, I don't know, it's easier for them to learn how to play the piano, for example. But I think this concept of the genius outside of you is good, because it represents that anyone can receive this creativity, this influence, this, inspiration, if they're open to it, and stop making artists and people who are creating something like put them in this pedestal and say, no, actually everyone is like everyone else, and you yourself have the possibility of creating something.
Listening to the intuition is almost like channeling, actually. It's like we say, everyone has intuition, right? So it's just about learning how to listen to your intuition and develop your intuition. So it's the same with, I think, art and all that. It's about channeling what needs to be created. But I mean, even people who are not in the arts, people who are like in the science field or engineering, whatever, they can also have this gift, birthing into the world what needs to be brought here in terms of technology and all that. But I think people who are already in the arts, or they are creative somehow, they are more open and they are not so conditioned to think in a certain pattern, so they are more prone to picking up different things because it's almost like a better conductor for this, like a crystal who amplifies the you know.
That's why I think it's important to have free time. And this goes back to the self-care routine, because if you're tired, if you're exhausted from your job, of course you won't be able to hold inspiration or to be this vessel or this channel to something new, because you are tired. You just want to go to bed and sleep, So I think finding balance in work and leisure time is very important to allow this process to happen.